Hello, and at this point, many of you are probably noticing that there are no more school buses clogging up your morning or afternoon commutes. Do you know why? Just like the inimitable Mr. Alice Cooper used to sing, and let's face it, probably still does. That song is a staple about this time of the year. School's out for the summer. Well, for everyone but you, because you're taking summer classes. Yeah, school's out for some, but not all. Sorry. So let's go. Once again, this is what this week's announcement looks like. All the materials that you need to concern yourself are linked right here along with this video and the associated chapter listings in case you want to skip through it. But please take the time to go through it. Every week you should be checking this thing, at least the announcement, like Tuesday at the latest, just to see what's coming up, okay? So as you can see here, all the links that you need are right here. Everything is right there waiting for you. So where do we go besides here? Well, if we go back to the main page and click on View the Course Schedule, we will get this page popping up. Scroll down to week 5. Oh, look, there it is. And at the end of the week, we will have the Juneteenth holiday. The college will be closed that day. So the masterclass schedule in week 5, as you can see here, this is the week involved. We have 2 things to look at and 1 thing to submit. So honestly, after this week, there's only 5 weeks left, so we're heading towards the finish line already. This week features the start of CSET, which technically should be a review of what you learned in English 101, right? There's 1 assignment to look through, like I said, and honestly, before I start riffing again, let's just dive into CSET. So, in what is CSET? There it is. We introduce, or if you had me or other teachers like me in English 101, reintroduce the idea of introducing source material into your writing by a 4-step process known as CSET. Very quickly, a little history. I think every English instructor has their own way of teaching students how to integrate source material because we've all seen how terrible it can truly be when you don't. When you, the student writer, just copies and pastes material from the source, there's really not a lot of integration. It's just slap it in and move on. It never works. So instructors like Dr. Bill Lewis from the University of Delaware created a catchy and pithy way to explain the steps. And those are the steps needed to really work in your own material. Now, my own method also had 4 steps, which were practically identical to this, but I named mine the Shun method. But that's a story for another time. So, knowing that pretty much every English teacher has their own version of this method, what is it? Well, as you can see here, claim is the C, the S is the setup, the E is the evidence, and the T is the tie-in. Claim, setup, evidence, and tie-in. By doing all 4 of these, it prevents you from just putting the material in and moving on. It weaves external references and your own ideas together to create a readable paper. So let's go over each section really quickly so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Claim is literally what you're trying to prove in the section that you're writing. Sometimes it ends up being a topic sentence, the first sentence in the paragraph that tells your reader exactly what the remainder of the paragraph will include. Sometimes the claim will actually be more focused on being a subpoint of the paragraph, so you might even have 1 or 2 different topic sentences in there, but for the most part, the claim is always going to be that topic sentence to lead into the paragraph to let your reader know what you're trying to prove and what they will assume that follows is going to actually support that topic sentence. Okay? Your setup is literally the material to introduce your source material to the reader. It usually includes the source's main rhetorical information, and that is the source material's author and title. After that, you can really add whatever else you'd like to fully flesh it out and underline the credibility of that source. You should add the currency or the publication date or the update date. The author's education or employment credentials can sometimes go in here, what they got their doctorate in, how long they've worked in the field, so forth and so on. Or even the source material's credibility if it was published on a website or in an academic journal that's very, very infamous, okay? This is where many writers choose to establish the beginning of the citation by putting the author's name and then the year. The evidence is the easy part. You've done this one over and over and over since junior high. This is where you either provide your direct quote or, better yet, your paraphrase of the material. It's a very smart idea to use paraphrases more than direct quotes, because with a paraphrase, you can direct your ideas into your own words rather than going back and forth with another author's direction and wording. Your goal is to explain the material in your own words so that your reader can see cohesiveness throughout your paper. Now, finally, we have the tie-in, which, in my opinion, is the most important part of this four-step process. Now, I used to call mine the explanation, which to me is a whole hell of a lot more detailed than tie-in. But let's just keep going with CSET, shall we? And honestly, it's literally the same thing. How does the material that you just put in this paragraph connect to both your topic sentence or your claim and the main thesis? How does it really work with the overall flow of the paper? How does this specific paraphrase or direct quote, but it really should be a paraphrase, affect the argument of your paper, and why was it important enough to include within the explanation of the point set forth in the claim? Now that all sounds way too lawyer-like, so let's just say it like this. The tie-in is there to answer the question, so what? Great, you just gave me a statistic, you gave me a fact, you gave me some history. So what? What does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with my argument? Oh, well, let me explain why it's so important. That's the tie-in, folks. It's very important, okay? So, many of you who haven't used CSET before, just, again, slap that quote in and move on before complaining that there's no way that you can make the page length requirement. If you actually take the time and run your quote or paraphrase through CSET or my Shun method, same thing, there's no way you won't make the minimum length. Instead of a 1 or 2 sentence quote, you're now adding a minimum of 4 sentences onto each instance. It's truly awesome. So, back here again, we can show you exactly how this works. With writing samples with and without CSET, hey, look, there it is. It's examples of how much of a difference it truly makes. So obviously, let's not fool ourselves, okay? I'm not going to talk down to you. You obviously understand that this short paragraph here is probably the one that you don't want to use, okay? We have our start, we have our topic sentence, we have our quote, our citation, another quote, another citation. There's no transition there. It's just bang, bang, move. It's crap. So let's take a look at the second paragraph using CSET. Oh, look at this. We have a much stronger topic sentence for our claim. We have our beginning of the quote, which is our setup. Then we actually have our quote, followed by an explanation of what that quote does for the topic sentence. Then we transition into another setup and another quote, followed by another explanation or tie-in. So basically it's C, set, set, which is perfectly fine. Hell, I could see a C, set, set, set if you really wanted to. But every time you're going to have a piece of evidence, you're going to want to set it up and tie it in. And the shorter they are, the more you're going to use within the paragraph. The longer they are, you might have just one. But a C, set, set is a very common way of looking at things. And of course, the page will insult you by saying, oh, the second paragraph is the one you want to use. No kidding. We already figured that out. Let's move on. We also have the CSET example here, which you can take a look at and see exactly how it kind of falls in there. There's the claim. And you can go through this on your own to see how it kind of ties in. But if you take a look at the color coding, the claim, single sentence, okay? We have our setup, which is very brief. We have our evidence, which is very brief. And then look at this. If you didn't do CSET, this entire section here would not appear in your paper. That's a lot of extra wording, isn't it? It's wonderful to explain your topic. So we have another sample down here, which is also color-coded. You can take a look at this. Javenbach's article, and we have all this. It's the same thing. But I actually have something else to show you, because back in our announcement, if we scroll down, we can see the CSET paragraph labeled Spanking, which goes along with the paper itself. So if we click on that, we get this. And a couple of my colleagues wrote this many years ago. I still use it. I like it a lot. I have one problem with it, the fact that they used pink and purple. No, Mr. Christopher, that's purple, and this is... No, it's not. That's pink, that's purple. I'm a guy, okay? Pink, blue, green, purple. Pink, blue, green, purple, okay? So don't argue with me. In any case, we have our claim. As you can see through this paragraph, there's only one claim, okay? There's our topic sentence. Then we have 1 setup, 2 setup, 3 setup, 4 setup. We have 1 piece of evidence, 2 pieces of evidence, 3 pieces of evidence, 4 pieces of evidence. Then we have 1 short explanation, tie-in, another second short tie-in, and then we have a monster third tie-in, which kind of takes the place of this one and this one, okay? So as you can see here, it actually continues to explain what a claim is, what a setup is, what evidence is, and what a tie-in is. So it's really a smart idea to take a look at this. It is attached to your announcement. You have access to it. It is in Microsoft Word. So if you can't open it up because you don't have Word, you can probably open it up in Google Docs. Sound good? All right, friends, Romans, and countrymen, we're almost done. Let's chat about the loan assignment this week, now that we're done through CSET, okay? The loan assignment is going to be the Unit 2 Comparative Writing Graphical Organizer. Now, the original of this, we click on here, and you can click on here to get the organizer, but the original copy was awful. It was a travesty of formatting. It was disgusting. It was terrible. And it wasn't actually the worst one I've ever dealt with, but it was close. So I tossed it. I redid it, and I made it look pretty. So click on here. Oh, there it is. It's something you're used to by now. It's with me. So you can see here I have the introduction, which is a single paragraph, the background, which is going to be a paragraph, comparing perspectives, which is going to be 2 paragraphs minimum. 1 for argument point 1, 1 for argument point 2. Your exploratory synthesis, which is going to be a paragraph at least. And then our conclusion, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs, okay? So that's what the final paper is going to look like. So I need you to fill this out as best as possible. A few things. Number 1, in the introduction, notice that I have a thesis question right here. It is not a thesis statement. I can tell who has watched the video and who has not watched the video, who has paid attention and who has not paid attention in this paper, because every one of you who just thinks that they know what they're doing is going to give me a thesis statement here. I'm not asking for a thesis statement. I'm asking for a thesis question. What beginning question can you ask when your previous stated thesis statement becomes the only logical answer, the one of the logical answers, excuse me? So you might talk about corporal punishment or spanking. What are the benefits and detriments to corporal punishment as a way of disciplining children? That's a question. That way you will see both sides of the argument, okay? As we get into the background, I want the rhetorical information for each article that you find. 2 new articles that have to be within the last 5 years, 2021 or later. Okay, list all the main ideas out and the titles and so forth. And then down here, any important information, any key concepts. Comparing perspectives. This is very important, but you've already done some of it. Go back to the Unit 2 article selection and comparing author perspectives brainstorming document that you completed last week. Okay, I'll say that again. Go back to the Unit 2 article selection and comparing author perspectives brainstorming document that you completed last week. You already have at least 3 arguments. Choose your top 2. Your best 2, better yet. Okay? And then put 1 here, 1 here. The first article had evidence that supported that. You've already done this part. Take it from that one little piece of the brainstorming document, put it in here. What was the second article's evidence that supports argument 1? Put it in there. And then something new, come up with the ideas for your tie-in. Okay? Figure out how these things kind of combine and how you can actually work these two articles together. All right? You're going to do the exact same thing for argument 2. Again, the second question that you asked. First article supports the second question, second article supports the second question, and how they tie together. Then, this is going to be the most important paragraph of your semester, the exploratory synthesis. This is where you show off and tell me exactly how smart you are, okay? Give me your thoughts on the argument. What did you think about the issue prior to reading the articles that you found? What was your going into it idea? Okay? What thoughts do you have now? How have your thoughts changed, or have they changed? What were the evolution of ideas that you had? How has your mind been changed by any new material? What was that material? How did it change it? If not, why are you sticking with the way you thought before? Give me any personal experiences. Now, this is very important, okay? If you are writing a paper on abortion rights, I do not expect you to tell me if you had any personal experience with abortions unless you care to. I am not forcing it. I am not requiring it. I am not hinting that you should. You put what in this paper, any personal experience that you feel comfortable sharing. I do not need to know the deep, dark secrets of your life, okay? And if you don't put it in there for a very touchy topic like that, I am not going to write back and say, well, it would have been better. No, that's your story to tell, okay? And then be honest. Do you think you're going to need to find any further research to really support these ideas? The answer to this should be, well, yes, I'm going to need more research. And then finally, our conclusion, okay? What do you want your reader to know, to see, or to do with the new information? But most importantly, now, I want you to see that this is a thesis statement now. Go all the way back to the introduction. Look at this question that you've asked. Answer the question right here. These two parts provide a nice bow to tie everything up in. And then add your references. Bob's your uncle. That's all you need, right? So that's all, folks. It's not the shortest video, but it's less than 18 and a half minutes. There was a lot to get through, though. It was important. I will shut up now. I hope everyone has a great week. Please feel free to reach out early in the week. I hope you're watching this Monday or Tuesday, to be completely honest with you. Stay safe. Have a great one. Peace out.